In an early BBC iPlayer episode of EastEnders, Nadine's pregnancy lie is exposed by Billy's estranged dad, Stevie. Meanwhile, Whitney faces repercussions for her fostering deception, and D.C. Porter, played by DeLacy, intervenes. In other news, Shona McGarty lands a role post her departure from the soap. Nadine Keller of EastEnders was exposed in a recent iPlayer episode. The most recent episode of EastEnders uncovered Nadine Keller's massive baby deception. Jay Brown's life was completely turned upside down recently by Nadine, who reconnected with him and said she was expecting his child. Jay was first hesitant to assist Nadine financially, but he ultimately warmed up to the notion of having a kid with her. But as time went on, it became evident that Nadine had faked her pregnancy in order to escape financial pressure from an unknown woman named Olivia. Billy's estranged father, Stevie, arrived on Wednesday, which caused Nadine's scheme to unravel. The episode can be seen on BBC iPlayer. Billy was incensed when Stevie showed up at his house without warning and told him to leave right away. Billy resisted Honey and Lexi's attempts to persuade him to give Stevie a chance, insisting he didn't want to know. When Lexi surreptitiously sought his assistance with Jay, who was not buying her story that she had witnessed Nadine consuming alcohol, Stevie was able to find a means to strengthen his relationship with the family. After seeing Nadine's covert meeting with Olivia, Stevie pushed her to get a DNA test and later became wary of her behavior. Nadine started moving her fake baby belly awkwardly after seeing Olivia again, not realizing Stevie was observing. After realizing she had been exposed, Nadine offered Stevie hush money before they all went to the Vic to patch things up with Billy, Jay, and Lexi. Billy and Phil insisted that Stevie was bad news, thus things at the pub didn't go as Stevie had hoped. Feeling frustrated, Stevie furiously revealed Nadine's fictitious baby bulge to the whole family, including Jay. BBC One airs EastEnders Monday through Thursday at 7:30 p.m. You may watch the show on BBC iPlayer as well. Shona McGarty, star of EastEnders, earns big role after leaving BBC soap opera. After leaving the soap opera, Shona McGarty, who has been a regular face on BBC's EastEnders since 2008 as Whitney Dean, is gearing up for an exciting new role. The actress is prepared to take on a new challenge now that she has completed filming her last sequences. The actress will be performing on stage alongside Laura Whitmore, Jay McGuinness from The Wanted, and Colin O'Donoghue from Once Upon a Time in 2:22 a.m. Ghost Story, in Dublin. Up to August 11th, the 3 Olympia Theatre will host the limited run. Fans are still in the dark about Whitney's storyline's resolution on the square, but Zach's burgeoning relationship with Lauren and the presence of Brittany are adding to the tension between them. Since leaving EastEnders, Shona hasn't held back when discussing her emotions and admitting that it was a really difficult decision to make. Reflecting on her experience on the program, she said, "Because that's all I've ever known, it was a really difficult decision. I feel like I'm leaving home because I spent my entire childhood living on the square. But as you get older, you realize that life is really short, so I had to pull up my big girl pants and bravery. Before I get too old, there are more opportunities and sectors of the industry I want to investigate. Everything has an end, and this is the beginning of a new chapter in my life." Thus, even though it was a significant choice, once I had made it, I was fairly certain that I had to follow through. Really, 16 years is great. The Mirror states, "Whitney needs a break and I've had a really good run." What EastEnders always do so well is rewrite and relive history and beautiful memories through story, Shona said on social media in reference to her most recent plot. They bring up recollections for the audience. Reminders of the passage of time and the journey a long-running character like Whitney has taken the viewer on. A youthful Whitney Dean has been apprehended in Brittany. It's been such fun to create and shape these moments from paper to screen, and there will be a ton more. Thank you to all of the incredibly amazing writers, Lola, and EastEnders. Fans of EastEnders will lose control when a well-known person unexpectedly appears in Walford tonight. Fans of EastEnders will be thrilled to see a well-known character make an unexpected appearance in tonight's episode. Whitney Dean is horrified when her deception about fostering Brittany Wainwright backfires. Whitney has been hiding the fact that she is not legally fostering Brittany and that she paid the teen's mother £2,000 to have her daughter removed from her since she came back to the square from Milton Keynes. After discussing Whitney's recent diagnosis of Usher syndrome with Brittany's teacher, Mrs. Rapon, things go south when Rice Caldwell unintentionally reveals that she is not Brittany's biological mother. Whitney is shocked when social services and a police officer show up to interrogate Mrs. Rapon, forcing her to take action. The two identify themselves as D.C. Porter from a child abuse investigations team and Mabel Cole from social services. Fans of the competition series Bring the Drama may recognize DeLacy, who plays D.C. Porter, as one of the last 3 contestants. 8 aspiring actors competed in Bring the Drama, presented by Bill Bailey, under the guidance of casting director Kelly Valentine Hendry with the hopes of winning an acting contract at the conclusion of the competition. After placing in the top 3, DeLacy signed with an agency and was cast in an EastEnders episode. We now know the role is D.C. Porter's, and tonight marks his EastEnders premiere. Later, Whitney is shown being interviewed at home by D.C. Porter and Mabel Cole, with Bianca Jackson, Patsy Palmer, stepping in to defend her daughter. The team clarifies that they are obligated by law to take action to protect Brittany's safekeeping, even though they have no worries for her overall wellness. D.C. Porter continues by saying that he has issued a police protection order to take Brittany to a secure location in the lack of official documents and without prompt confirmation from Brittany's mother. As they whisk Brittany away to be with emergency foster caregivers, a devastated Whitney sobs. Jamie Mitchell from EastEnders, who was he, Billy Mitchell's father Stevie, who was initially introduced during Aunt Sal's funeral at the beginning of the year, has returned to EastEnders this week. Billy and Phil gave Stevie a frigid reception in today's episode, making it obvious that they didn't want him back in their lives. But Billy and Honey had an open discussion about their troubled past when Honey urged Billy to listen to his father and find some closure. After a contentious conversation in which Billy discussed his late brother Charlie in particular, Stevie asked Billy how to contact Charlie's son Jamie, to whom Billy had to break the news that Charlie had passed away in 2002. Since Jamie's days in Albert Square are over, let's review the beloved character. Who was Jamie and how did he pass away? Jamie Mitchell from EastEnders. Who was he? After his father Charlie passed away in 1998, Jamie made his Walford debut. Charlie himself never appeared on TV, but in a 2022 special flashback show about the Mitchells, he was brought to life. Jamie, being a teenager, moved in with his uncle Billy after losing both of his parents. But Billy would frequently abuse him violently, and he wasn't given proper care. He was taken in by his godfather, Phil, a distant relative, after learning about Billy's brutality and having even been present for an attack. Jamie started dating Sonia Jackson, now Fowler, but when she became a mother at the age of 15, she had a child with Martin Fowler, which greatly complicated matters. After Jamie had an affair with Zoe Slater, the couple briefly parted ways, but they later reconciled. Although Jamie's relationship with Billy improved, his friendship with Phil did not. In 2002, Jamie and Sonia assisted Phil's ex-girlfriend Lisa Shaw in fleeing to Portugal with their daughter Louise. When Phil learned of this, he beat up Jamie for standing up for Sonia after threatening to kill her until she told him what she knew. The violent action drew criticism from the audience. After Jamie was attacked by Phil, Sonia helped him recover, and the two became engaged. In EastEnders, how did Jamie Mitchell pass away? Jamie purchased back the engagement ring he had to sell earlier in 2002, so he planned a romantic surprise for Sonia. However, when he was making his way back to her, he was unexpectedly struck by a car, which was being driven by a distracted Martin who was texting and driving. Before the physicians could declare that Jamie's liver damage was irreversible and that there was nothing more they could do for him, Jamie had been hospitalized for a few days. After heartfelt sequences in which Billy and Phil expressed regret to Jamie for their treatment of him, he died away on Christmas Day with Sonia at his side. Over the years, Jamie has been mentioned in the soap opera sometimes. For instance, in 2017, Martin talked candidly to his and Sonia's daughter Bex, who was being tormented at school at the time, about the fallout from Jamie's death. "You're not the only one, you know," he replied. "Everyone is staring at you, chatting about you, and treating you like the weird guy in town. I experienced all of that when I was your age. It was a simple, foolish error that only happened once. I believed I would never go past it." Later, after finishing an illegal job in 2019, Martin and Tubbs were involved in a hit-and-run, which brought back memories of the deadly error he had committed as a youth. This incident left Martin feeling tormented by his past. In these new sequences, Billy talked about his own guilt regarding his late nephew, Jamie, after telling his father that he died in a vehicle accident over 20 years ago. "You didn't take him in when Charlie died," he remarked. "Yes, I did. And I mistreated him. Most likely due to the way you handled me. Every day that passes, he never leaves my thoughts. His entire life lay ahead of him. I wish he was here with us." Billy and his estranged father appear to have become further apart after learning of Jamie's passing, but it's unclear if Stevie will be able to mend fences. Please subscribe our channel.